NHL heavyweight Matt Rempe is back. The 6'9", 260-pound Ranger enforcer just served an 8-game suspension for a brutal hit on the Dallas Stars' Miro Heiskanen just before Christmas. So now what? Is this just another disaster waiting to happen? Here's the coach, Bruce Boudreau, to talk about it. Bruce, Rempe says he's a changed man. He's going to be a lot smarter. He says he's going to do a better job of picking his spots. Can a guy like Rempe really change? And if he does, can he be effective?
Well, they got him there for a reason. If he changes his spots, he's not talented enough to play on a regular basis. So, he's got to do what he does. How's he going to change? What is he going to become now, Mitch Marner? It's not going to happen. So, to me, he's going to go out there, and if he does anything wrong, the next one will be a 10 game or a 12 game. And eventually, there's been a lot of guys in the NHL that have gone over the line on a lot of things, and their suspensions have got to the best. Tom Wilson has changed his whole total game. There's been many more. I don't know if this guy can do it, but I don't know if he's got the skill to be able to do it as well.
Okay, so his first game back now is against their bitter rival, the Devils. Rempe's last suspension was a 4-gamer because of a hit on New Jersey's Jonas Siegenthaler. If you're coaching Rempe tonight on the bench, what do you say to him going into tonight's game?
Play your game, but just be wary that you can't run it, guys. We want you to go to the front of the net and make them take penalties on you. But you have to. If I'm coaching a Matt Rempe, you've got to be responsible without the puck, because obviously we're not out there for you to score goals. But if all of a sudden your line gets an icing for say, and then the Leafs throw over the Matthews line, you've got to be able to play without the puck in your own zone. And unless he can do that stuff, he's not going to be able to be put on the ice. I've had a lot of enforcers, both playing for me and against me. But if they couldn't play on a regular shift and make sure that they knew what their responsibilities are without the puck, I couldn't play them. And it's a simple fact. Now, you still want him to be, to protect his players, if something happens out there, just go out there and be big brother. That's what you want. You want the guys on your bench to feel that they're protected, but you don't want to go out there and run Heiskanen like you did in the first minute, the first time you're out there. You gotta be able to learn how to play if you want to stay in this league.
What's it like to be a coach for this guy when you're trying to draw that balance with all the things you're trying to think of behind the bench? Do you really have time to be going to a Rempe and saying, hey, watch what you're doing, watch what you're doing? This is a Rangers team that's life and death right now to make the playoffs. Do you see Rempe re-entering the lineup as an add or potentially a detriment for what the Rangers are trying to do right now?
Well, I really, it's a great question. And I don't think, other than bringing life to the bench and making his teammates feel bigger and stronger, that he's going to do anything actively important for that team to win. If the Leafs dress Ryan Reeves, and you put him out there, you have two deterrents going against each other. But Ryan Reeves can play. He's shown that he went through this in his early stages. Now, Rempe's not there yet. Maybe eventually Rempe could get there, but he's not there. To me, when you're in a life and death move like the Rangers are at this stage here, can you afford to put that fourth line out on the ice where any goal might be the difference in the game? It's going to be tough. You play him one shift early, then you see how the game goes, and then you might have to play him another shift. But if he plays more than 5 minutes, I think the Rangers are in trouble.
Bruce, it sounds like you're saying there's no fit there. So the game is faster and more skilled than ever before. Is there any benefit to still carrying an enforcer like a Matt Rempe on your roster? From what you're saying to me is, you're like, okay, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about this of this guy. I got to warn him about this. Is it worth it? Is it worth having a guy like him on your roster when he seems like he's more trouble than value?
It's not worth it if he can't play. Now I'm not seeing Matt Rempe every day, so I don't know. Like, I mean, if he can play or if he can't play. I mean, you watch the highlights, and sometimes you watch the Rangers play. He's only playing 2 or 3 shifts, so I don't know that yet. But I've had a lot of guys that were enforcers, but you could play them, and if you can play them, they're a valuable asset. I mean, because if you can play them 10 minutes a night and they're out there and they're good defending and they chip in the odd goal, that's great. But if you've got a guy that you got there for 5 minutes, that he's there to beat people up or to intimidate people, I don't think the rules allow that anymore. And if you do run at a guy and you're going to get a 5 in a game, you're going to put the New York Rangers in a spot that they don't want to be in, because they can't afford too many losses in a row at any point in time. So if you're asking me, is there a spot for a guy like him in the game? Not if he's just there to be the tough guy. He's got to be able to play, and to play at the NHL level, you got to be pretty good. So hopefully he's learned a couple lessons being out for 8 games. But I'm from Missouri. You got to show me. I'm not sold on this yet.
All right, so listen, I know as you and I are having this conversation, there's a lot of people right now, a lot of hockey fans who are saying, relax, Retta. Fighting's part of the game. We enjoy the big hits. We like this. It draws eyes. People, you've coached in big Canadian markets and you coached in American markets. And the sell there is this draws more viewers. People like to see this happen. You've coached on both benches, both sides of the border. Is that true? Do we still need this to draw new viewers and increase the popularity of the game in the U.S.?
I think the game sells itself now. Let's be honest. The skill of the game, the speed of the game, all of these things sells the stuff. It's not like the 70s where you need the fighting, where if you ask a non-hockey fan in an American market, about hockey, they're saying, "Oh, I love the fights, love the fights." Well, that's where we've been trying for years to get away from that. I mean, people still like to see a good fight. Who are we kidding? But at the same time, you don't want to see guys just out there for the sake of fighting, intimidating, and that. So I think we've gotten away from that game, and I think the game is an awful lot better for it.
Well, whether you like his style or not, whether you think a guy like Matt Rempe can still contribute, this much we know: we're all going to be watching tonight to see how this plays out.